Welcome back, chat, to episode 3 of Boy Period. How do you think I should look? Should I put on a hat? Yo, I'm a wigger now. Hey, I'm definitely not turning 32 in a month. Hey, I'm Red Bar now. Full sip. Actually look badass as fuck doing this. What a fucking aesthetic that is. These glasses and this hat will be coming off and going on, hopefully, throughout this whole thing. Welcome back, chat, to episode 3. One cool thing about uploading schizo rants to YouTube that literally probably only 5 people at the most see is that the algorithm starts feeding you other people doing schizo rants that like maybe 3 people will see. And I've seen some pretty fucking crazy people, and it's pretty funny. Like this one, I don't know if they're trans. I don't. Well, you know what? If you can't tell if someone is trans or not, that means they're probably like genetically trans. So it's very important for some people to have facial hair to be like, I am obviously a man. I don't know her name. I was like Ashley or something, or Ashafaker or something. But I got this episode, this video of this person being like, "I know you stole." This was the caption for the video. I know you stole my disability check, and there was this chick, like scraping 2 knives together for 22 minutes, just going. I wish I should have done my homework. We will get to a point where I will know how to bring up other videos, and we'll scroll through Twitter and Facebook together, and we'll laugh at other artards on the internet. I wonder if the algorithm picks up on artards. Yeah, and there was some like nerd dude. There was this guy. He had like 37 videos, and 19 of them had no views. Like, Buddy's not even watching his own shit. He's not even putting it on a loop on a different device using a VPN to humbly pump up the numbers. Somehow I got it. Somehow I got in my algorithm his videos with no viewers. And he was like, this another guy on disability. Why aren't I on disability? Another guy, he was like, I don't even know what the fuck he was doing. He was like talking about Pokemon cards and AI stories or something. He was like, next time going to upload this. I didn't pay attention. I took away my thumbs up. Actually, I thumbed it up. I'm like, good for you, bro. And then I was like, actually, I don't support what you're doing. I'm not down with this. So, and then yeah, I spoke last time. The algorithm it shoots me like a young guy spirituality, and then like women doing mukbangs in their car, which is basic. And like I said last time, is the perfect analogy and dichotomy for what I'm doing here, which led me to the phrase spiritual mukbang. So welcome back. I meant to say this right away. Welcome back to my spiritual mukbang. We're not rebranding. We're not going to change the name. I'm not going to come in here and be like, welcome back to episode 4 of Spiritual Mukbang. No, this is Boy Period, okay? The bit is that it sucks and it's going to get better. But yeah, this is a spiritual mukbang. It's just someone putting a camera in front of themselves, and instead of cramming like McDonald's into their face, they're cramming spirituality into your face. So what's so spiritual about today? So this would be the part where someone would introduce them like, today. I actually did write some things down. Honestly, I am going to share some mantras with you, but let me get 1 second to pick them up, bring them up. Where did I put them? We'll get to them later. So this was like my week. It's only been a few days since the last one. Something cool did happen the other day. So I've built a psychological prison for myself that started off in childhood trauma and was just built stronger and stronger throughout the years, that I have this insular prison of my own creation, wherein the whole world becomes a product of my mind. Everything exists within my mind, and then I think that I am having a whole rounded relationship with the world, but in reality, that world that I have a whole rounded relationship is really just the confines of my mind. And I'm on the journey of breaking through those confines and growing connections to the actual so called real world. Like a blade of grass crawling its way through a crack in the concrete. But imagine more so big, strong, instead of it being a blade of grass through concrete, imagine it being giant roots thrusting themselves out of the crust of a dying earth, of a rock planet. So, that being said, focus on your breath. Oh, anyways, part of the insular prison was fantasies, romantic fantasies, very strong romantic fantasies, very intimate feelings and feelings of longing, of yearning, limerence, desire, connection, love, intimacy, but but in the form of a spiritual and emotional masturbation, in that it was a solo event and not necessarily like jorking your shit, but living in the fantasy of that intimate connection, which was a like it had such a huge grasp on me, and to defeat that dragon, to slay that demon, I had to do some time slaying the actual masturbation demon. I'm not a full no fap guy. I'm not a full like weird zealot dogmatic Christian about it. Although are Christians really? Well, I guess I was gonna say, are Christians really attacking the issue of like chronic masturbation anymore? I know a lot of people who go to church are swingers. When I'm down in Spokane, Washington, literally, and I mean this. I mean this. I cannot go to a restaurant in Spokane without bumping into some like church going swingers. Okay. I don't know what church they're going to, but I just know they'll talk about Christ and then sucking girls' balls. I don't know. I swinging sex is not the same as masturbation per se, but I remember going to this church with my buddy once. We went to the bar. We went to a nightclub that same night. We went to church in the afternoon on a Saturday. If you're going to church on a Saturday, you're in a cult. You're not part of a religion. If first rule of religion, do it on Sunday, okay? These Saturday churches, these Friday churches, you're busy on a Sunday? Fuck off. Have we passed 10 minutes? No. These weren't going anywhere anyways. Uh, Diet Dr. Pepper, goaded, pretty goaded. They don't sell these in Canada. I will dead ass go to Omak, Washington, to Walmart and buy. I've been progressively buying more and more each time I go down. Next time I might drop $100 on Dr. Pepper alone. I've been saving $1 bills. I have like 60. These are just happenstance $1 bills from when I go to the states. I have $60 worth of $1 bills. If it has to come to it, I might spend that $60 in $1 bills on how many 24 packs of Diet Dr. Pepper I can get, because uh, Dr. Pepper Zero is not the same. It's not just the branding. You get accustomed to it, but it's not the same. And regular Dr. Pepper, with any type of regular soda that has sugar in it, if it's not cane sugar, I can drink it straight up if it's cane sugar out of like a glass bottle. But if it's not cane sugar soda, it needs to be suffocated by ice. It needs to be the cup needs to be full of ice, and it needs to be a like literally 15 or 20% soda. Like the ice should only there should be like this much. There should be like this much, just like an inch at the most. An inch is pushing it of soda at the bottom of the cup. The rest should be ice. It should just be seeping through the seams of each piece of ice. Remember, I was talking about the blade of grass growing out of concrete? That should be the soda. That's how much little space there should be left for the soda. When it's actual sugary soda, I need it diluted with so much ice. And it's so cold. It's so fucking good. And then the bubbles are like slowly on a microscopic level melting the ice. And so, like, it is getting kind of diluted. And you're like popping the ice and it's sizzling. It is truly goaded. I might switch up my diet uh, to just like cane sugar. Oh, and doggy, when it's cane sugar, and a shit ton of ice, then we're on a whole different fucking planet. We are living in 3008, as we used to say back in 2008. Doggy. Totally forgot what I was talking about. The soda, OMAC. I keep looking down and I see these prayers and meditations. Well, these mantras, but we don't get to the spiritual shit until we're about halfway through the episode. And like I've said before, when these upload, just drop the needle. Just drop the needle somewhere in the middle and then have it playing in the background and have these playing when you like leave, when you're like going out to do errands. Turn on YouTube, turn on the TV, put on YouTube, put on Boy Period, and have Boy Period playing while you're gone. And then after you're done, get a different device out, change the VPN on that device, and then play the show again on a different device. Play the same episode again. Always have a looped series of Boy Period playing on your house. And when you go to the dentist and there's a TV on the top of the ceiling for you to watch, which they stopped doing for me. Whenever I go to the dentist, it's all women. They just yappity yap yap. They're just yapping at me, making me put my arm on their lap, rubbing their chest against me, giving me extra long facial massages, smiling at me and staring at me in the eyes for extended amounts of time, putting me under with gas. I wake up with a big stain in my underwear, and there's some goopy stuff on me. And then someone's number is written with permanent marker on my stomach. It's such a strange thing going to the dentist. And you know what turns me on the most? When they're like scraping my teeth or they're drilling my teeth and it or my gums rather, and it hurts a little bit. Ooh, mommy. I know actually do like that feeling. Not like sexually. It's not even like a sexual thing I like. It's just I don't know. I have such. See, these are teeth. They're decent teeth. They're not like the most perfect teeth, but I've done very little to like keep up my teeth health. I think most other people, if they neglected their teeth as much as I had, would have much worse teeth. So, I don't have to brag, but god damn it, I was on something. Spiritual mukbang and I had the anima thing. Okay, so there's this phrase I say every single day, and it's the projected anima. And the projected anima, I believe, is a Jungian term. No, it's so funny. There's a button. I look at this button to make sure that the microphone's still on. I can easily press the button and it'll stop record. Well, it'll stop. The sound will turn off. Like what I'm saying, I have a burp button that I just don't use. That I'm very aware of, and I don't. I just let the burps hit the mic. I could stop it, but that'd be gay, wouldn't it? I'm turning this on. I don't hear this guy fucking burp again. It's not. And here's the thing. Any rookies out there? I'm on my third episode, so I think I'm in a place to like put out some advice to the younger creators, the people just starting out. When you burp on the mic, it's not necessarily grossing anyone out. It's just delaying your message. When people are listening, they want information coming in, they want new things. And when you repeat yourself, don't do it too much. But if you do repeat yourself, only do it once and it will show an emphasis. If you start doing it again and again and again, the audience will notice. Tim Dillon does that a lot. He'll repeat himself so many times, and it's like, what fucking idiots are listening to Tim Dillon anymore? Like, over and over and over, and it's awful. God, he sucks now. That phrase, sad to see what you've become, doesn't apply to anyone more than Tim Dillon. Jesus. Tim Dillon's a comedian who's turned into a political pundit. Yeah, but the projected. Back to the projected anima. The projected anima is a Jungian term where a man has a fascination of a woman and he sees things he wants to value about himself in the woman. So it's basically a crush. It's like it's a psychology nerd way of saying you got a crush on someone you like because they represent the person that you would want to be or would want in your life. So that ties into the fantasy of being in an insular world. And when I was able to cut back on the jerking my shit, I started to notice that it wasn't just the expelling of semen through ejaculation that was not beneficiary to me, but it was also the act of spending time in a state of yearning and delusion and fantasy. And oftentimes it's a very strong feeling in the chest and in the mind. It's very possessing. So the other day, I was cleaning up a pile of clothing I have on the other side of this very large room that I own in my house. But I had accumulated a pile of old clothing that I could no longer fit before because I had gotten fatter and fatter. And now that I'm losing weight again, I'm not quite at the size to fit most of those clothing, but I thought I'd go through it and see if there's anything I actually want to keep. And there's quite a bit that I threw out. There's a bunch of pants that I'm hopeful that I can refit because there's a lot of pants, and I don't want to buy a whole bunch of new pants or a bunch of new clothes, honestly. But there is some fucking cool clothing I want to buy. I saw this Chainsmoker Cat T-shirt. It said Meow Boral, but it would have been like $55 American. That was with shipping, which is like 76 bucks Canadian for a fucking shirt. 80 bucks pretty much for one shirt. A past me would have done it, but I don't have that YouTube money yet, so nope. Anyways, I was going through that, and then I was feeling myself. I was like, I'm so fucking cool. And then I was thinking about this chick, cause like it's kind of a joke. I'm kind of low key do want this, kind of high key want this. Would actually really really want this. I made a status on Facebook saying I'm looking for a rich girlfriend in Kelowna who can let me stay at her place for free. And yeah, of course that's a joke, but it's not. Honestly, that would be ideal. I don't know. I was thinking about this chick. I was like, ooh, maybe, oh, baby, what's up? And I was like, ooh, baby. That's actually, I was like, I think I might be able to, ooh, I might think I'll be able to do this. And instead of like going to my bed and falling into the fantasy loop of the projected anima, I decided, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to stay out and do something else. And I have this anime playing in the background. I think it's called Treasure Explorers. I think the word exile wants to come in, but there's no exile. Treasure Explorers or some shit like that. It's a retro anime from the 90s about like this tomboy warrior chick and her magician monkey cat girl sidekick. Who's mostly girl, but she has a monkey tail and like cat ears kind of. I guess it's a cat tail, but she uses it like a monkey tail sometimes. Anyway, she's a magician and they're looking for treasure and shit. And they find a job, and I checked out. I'll probably rewatch it, but I checked out. I got busy and doing something else. But near the end of it, there was this prince. I have no clue what was going on here, but just after I decided not to fall into the fantasy loop of the projected anima, on the screen there was a prince and he was talking to a ghost of a beautiful woman. And then he said to the ghost, "Thank you for all the good times, but I have to let you go." And then he had this sword and he sliced the ghost in half. And then the ghost dissipated and then left, and that lifted a curse off of him and gave him the confidence to be the king and the ruler that his nation needed. And that happened like right after I had denied myself the spiritual masturbation of the fantasy loops to the projected anima. So I had done something psychological for myself there, and then I saw it visually on my television from an anime that was made like 31 years ago. That was probably made and produced around the same time I was like born or just a small baby. So that was cool. And then even like the cat magician girl was like, "You're like a totally different person now," to the prince who released himself from the ghost of the beautiful woman. So that was cool. That happened on Monday. I thought that was worth sharing. And yeah, going back to the boy period, have I explained what that actually is? So, boy period is jerking off. It's shooting out jizz. So, God forces womanhood onto a girl. One day, a girl will be frolicking through a meadow. There will be bees and birds and talking animals. Flowers will be dancing and singing songs. The wind will have colors. Musical notes will bounce upon the waves of air. The sun's smiling. There's music. Everyone's happy. And then Satan shows up in her vagina and she starts to bleed and she starts to go crazy. And welcome to womanhood. So God forces it upon her. And then she grows, men approach her, life happens, she lives the life of the feminine soul. Whereas a man, so womanhood is just, it's put on your lap, quite literally. Whereas a man needs to build his manhood. If he isn't mentored or he isn't self taught, he will progress into a big blob and become a man child. What's that word? Late for leaving. He'll have arrested development. He'll suck ass. So we all know that a period is the expelling of dead eggs. So I guess new eggs can be fertilized. Am I far off? The point is that your reproductive eggs, your reproductive cells are expelled out of your body once every moon cycle. And that just happens. You pretty much have no control over it. I mean, you can do things to fuck with it, like get pregnant, live a very unhealthy life, have some type of outside variant fuck with you. Uh, there's medications that can stop it. Stress. There, you can do something unhealthy for you to mess with your menstrual cycle, basically. But if you just live accordingly, it will happen naturally. Whereas a man's reproductive cells come out through action. They hardly ever just spill out. When you're younger, you might have a wet dream. Ooh, sucks. It's embarrassing. Having an actual wet dream as a guy, I had a wet dream when I was like 18, I think, while I was on a trip with people I barely knew. I had a dream that I fucked like a really stupid, fat, ugly native girl. Uh, and I woke up a huge load in my SpongeBob SquarePants underwear boxers. Like a massive load. And I was like, for some reason that was an issue. Like I forget the issue. I think I might have only had one pair of underwear. I couldn't have just had one pair of underwear. What the fuck happened? Why did I need to tell one of the coordinators about it? What? Why did I need to share that with anyone at the time? Because one of the I think it was the coordinator's boyfriend who had something to do with this trip, said that when he was in college, him and his roommates would see how long they could go without jerking off, and they would play a game to see who like came in their pants first. Which, I mean, I'm glad I told him because that's a fucking weird, interesting story. So why was anyone doing anything like? Why was anyone doing that? Why was I telling people I had a wet dream back then? Why was he telling? Why? I don't care about him telling me about that game him and his classmates played. Why were they doing that? Was the esoteria of no fat part of the curriculum? Was this some type of alpha omega Greek shit going on? And I never played that game. I don't think I know anyone cool enough not to like waste their seed like that. Anyways, a man needs to build his own manhood, whereas womanhood just happens to a woman. So, part of building that manhood as a man is through the restraint, is through discipline, is through planning, organization, and making the most out of your creativity. I look cuter with the bangs. Bring the bangs back. Oh no, it looks kind of weird. I don't give a shit really, but fuck it. The world looks better with rosy-colored glasses. Um, yeah, man needs to build. So a boy period, instead of like waiting for God to punch you in the gut, you don't jerk. You only jerk off once every moon cycle, or you give yourself like a time period to jizz. So like how a woman will release her eggs through the period blood once every moon cycle, you release your seed through jizzing once every moon cycle. And this spiritual esoterica is that if you save your seed, you're saving your spiritual creative force. And that if you don't jizz, you'll feel more confident, you'll feel more capable, you'll be more magnetic. Woman will find you attractive for no particular reason. You also save like nutrients and minerals because when you jizz, you're like spending zinc and whatever. So when you have to rebuild that, this is part of the esoterica. When you expel the seed, you need to rebuild it. But the thing is, your body's scientifically, your body's constantly making sperm. It's something like 1,000 sperm a second. But if you want to do sperm maxing, then don't waste any sperm. And the longer you go without jizzing, you're gonna have more and more sperm. Also, if you don't like jizz for a bit and you do shoot loads, especially if you're edging for a bit and it's like really hot, however you choose to jizz, it'll be a massive amount. You'll be shooting ropes, you'll be shooting fucking fire truck hoses. It'll be like a hot day in Brooklyn. There'll be kids dancing around the streets in your jizz. He's talking about kids dancing in jizz. What the fuck? Whatever. You probably do, honestly. You ever seen Kids, that movie? So yeah, that's a boy period. A boy period is so also like when you're a woman and you have your period and like you have cramps for a few days, bitchy, however periods look like to you. For the boy period, you've expelled your creative force, and so for the next 4 days after you're done jizzing, you're sort of like in this rebuilding phase. That magnetism you have leaves, and you kind of need space for yourself. It's also a good way to not jerk off as much or jizz as much. I'm sure there's thousands of hours online you can read or talk about not jerking off. But that's what a boy period is. And that's why this is a incrudiment to Come Town. Sometimes I rock the boy period. Sometimes I get closer to the mic again. Sometimes I actually am able to go a full moon cycle without jizzing. Sometimes, a weekend or 2 weeks in or 3 weeks in even. There's been times where I've broken my streak, but you just try again. Now, on a spiritual level, as women, we get that having a period isn't the same as jizzing. You'd actually would think it's the opposite. You know, jizzing creates relief. You having a period, you literally can't create life. You're not in the state for you're expelling fertile eggs. It's literally the opposite of breeding. Whereas jizzing is absolutely necessary for breeding. Still, there's the polar opposite. You're expelling waste. We're expelling life. Periods hurt. Jizzing feels great. The after effect is like relief from having a period. Once it's done, you're like, oh, thank God that's done. Whereas after jizzing, depends how it happens. Like if you're jerking off, it's you don't usually you have the possibility of shame and guilt and loss of energy. I think it's been a week and a bit since I've jizzed. And apparently, according to the sacred texts, if you come in your wife, oh, sorry, fuck, I don't sleep that much, or I'm just boring myself. I have a light. The light that I'm using for the lighting in this is a daylight lamp, and it's supposed to mimic sunlight. I guess the pigment, the level of brightness, the color of the thing in front of the light actually is supposed to represent actual light, like sunlight, as opposed to blue light. And I wonder if my fucked up circadian rhythm is just picking up on the sunlight. And my fucked up circadian rhythm, instead of seeing sunlight as a sign of being activated, it's seeing it as a sign of rest and sleepiness. I also have these on, which are blocking any like UV rays getting to my cones and rods in my eyes, anyways. I understand that yawning and taking breaks to simply think isn't great TV. So let's go into these mantras. I'm not one to say I'm really into astrology, even though more so than the average guy for sure. But I really only do it for my own personal interests. I do not know how to create natal charts, but I like looking up natal charts. and I like doing transits. Holy fuck! Also, yawning can also be a sign of your nervous system regulating. It could be a sign of feeling safe, of your brain saying, okay, this is good, we can fix ourselves or whatever. It's not always necessarily a sign of boredom or even necessarily being tired. Some But we live in such a fucking activated, traumatized culture that everyone needs to be on, everyone needs to be having fun. And sure, yeah, that's great. I'm raw dogging a 1 hour schizo rant to myself or to whoever's watching this. So I'm going to read my transit from this week, but only through the mantras. So Venus conjunct 1 positive 503. Theme: I shine by being myself. Mantra: I don't need to chase attention. I naturally attract people by being authentically myself. My warmth, confidence, and kindness are enough. Short version: I shine by being myself. Okay, we're going to put a pin in that. Every Sunday, I will do my horoscope through my natal chart and then that day. I do it once a week because if I do it day by day, most of the transits are the same and it feels repetitive and it feels there's no real difference. Honestly, if I want to see a totally different horoscope, I have to wait 2 weeks. But I've been doing it once a week. But this week, I actually like my horoscope. So I'm actually this transit. So I'm actually going to wait 2 weeks to do it again because I want to live off of the narrative that this transit is giving me. So you can think astrology is hooey ooey. I don't know how people are saying it. You can think it's some made up dumb bullshit. Please do. Please do not believe in it and continue wandering blind through this world. I'll have a great advantage over you if you don't partake into it. And also don't partake in astrology because if you're a guy and you're doing it and you're not as spiritually powerful as me, you come off as a fucking creep and you're probably not using it right. So that's just a little disclaimer. Anyways, my I make an arrogant, offensive, controversial statement and then I just continue on like nothing happened. And then I wonder why people might not be gravitating towards me. Well, I'm a complex guy, dude. Get used to it. Give it a year. Give it a year, bud. Let me sink in a bit. So, anyways, back to my transit. But previously to this one, I had very contradictory messages. Literally, because my natal chart is so complicated and convoluted in some areas, it's just very messy and complicated and complex. Not to brag, I get a lot of transits. I get a lot. Sometimes I look at other people's horoscopes and it's way smaller than mine. And I think these people with the less complicated natal charts have it so easy. I wonder how their simple little lives are. And then I wonder, am I reading too deep into their lives? If I actually got to know them, would they just be simpletons? Are there walking, talking fleshlights out there? There most certainly are. And it was my transit this week was like saying you're feeling particularly attractive, you feel confident, now's the time to like make deals and pursue and contact people. But there's this one transit that's been haunting me for literally months, saying basically that I'm exhausted, that I need to be aware of pessimistic thinking, and that basically things aren't as bad as they seem, and that I'm going to come out on the other side of this particular aspect of my horoscope. I'm going to come out on the other side much stronger. Another part of it is like leaving negative attachments, potentially leaving certain friendships or relationships, or transforming existing friendships and relationships. and I might lose some I might change, some I need to be taking a break from, and so that's what this is loosely based on. I brought that up because I was thinking maybe one day I should do a transit. I should read it out loud. But then I'm curious as to how watchable or readable or listenable that is. It is something deeply personal. Perhaps by me sharing it on YouTube and someone else listening to it, they can draw what they can take what they need from it. They could adopt it or ignore it. Because what I was getting to before I went on that rant against an imaginary person disagreeing with astrology was that, bar none, the truth, the absolute truth about astrology, and this is 100% true, there is scientifically true, there's no disproving this, is that it provides a narrative. Astrology provides a narrative, and it's up to you to follow that narrative. You can accept it, you can integrate it, you can digest it, you can challenge it, you can ignore it, you can relate to it, you can disregard it. But it gives you the option of setting your intention on something and viewing the world through a certain perspective. And if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like you need a sense of relativity or being relative or relevant, then you can use it as a guide. And that's why I feel like cards, like card readings, horoscopes should be done sparingly. You should do them like once a month or once a solstice, or if it's like astrology, have a transit every 2 weeks. And then, yeah, what I do is that on the solstice, the beginning of a new season, I pull 6 cards and 2 cards for each zodiac month. So, like, say on the first day of summer, there's 2 cards for Cancer season. No, wait, what? No, Gemini season. Then Cancer. Wait, what? What does it start off of? Jesus Christ. Let's work backwards here. We just finished Cancer season, right? Yeah, no, no, no. Start. Yeah, Cancer, Leo, then Virgo. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I pulled 2 cards for Cancer, and then Leo, and then Virgo. And they all have a relevancy to that solstice, but they will appear more during each zodiac month. We're in Leo right now, and my cards that I pulled for Leo were the Gaia physical body card, which was like pay attention to your health, exercise, eating, which I've done a great job at. And I've actually not only just like really honed in on, is it honed in or homed in? I like saying hone in, but I read somewhere someone wrote home in. Isn't it hone? I don't know. But I've really perfected a type of diet that works for me, and exercise that works for me, and I've been really progressing with my presence and my posture and being mindful of my body to levels I've never felt before. And the other card I pulled for Leo was the Chantel card, the Chantel Angel card, which is the romance card. So I'm really hopeful for romance this month, or for this whole solstice. And perhaps not even, and I'm not saying perhaps not even romance. I am pursuing that. But in addition, like a better understanding of what I want from a relationship through intimacy, through sex, and through connection and stuff like that. And I don't care if that sounds gay. Here's one thing you should know: everyone born in North America during the 90s has a high feminine spiritual essence. That's just how it is. And just because you have a high feminine spiritual essence doesn't make you gay. Uh, choosing to suck a dick makes you gay. Choosing to sucking and loving a dick is gay. We won't get into. It's crazy how people can be gay. It's actually nuts. Most people I know who are gay And there's been multiple people who've told me this. Only start fucking dudes because they can't get any pussy. That's sad. That's really sad and pathetic. And it's been more than one person who's told me that. Every single lesbian I've gotten to know has some guy who gives her side dick. Every single lesbian has some dude that they use for sex. Every single one I've met. Every single one I've talked to. Every single one. So are you really a lesbian if you're getting dick down? And then you can say the ifs and the ands and the buts in the context. No, the level of what a lesbian is supposed to be is that you don't get dick down. And then, of course, the old adage of them using dildos, dicks, for fucking each other with strap-ons or whatever. It's like you're still getting dicked. You're just getting a pathetic loser version of that. More pathetic. Hey, hey, hey. Well, I don't know. And I think some women just say they're lesbian because they have bad attachment. They were molested. They just have bad luck with men and relationships so much. But yeah, not my monkey, not my circus. And then like there's like trans, and like there's also like there's another sect of guys who are gay who did get pussy. They got pussy. They got along swimmingly with women, but then they became trans. That have incurable mommy issues and like a dead dad. I'll never be trans. On my mother's life, on my mother's life, I will not be dressing up as a woman. I'm going to looks match as I can as a man. Okay, so stop sending me those reels of men in their 50s and 60s wearing wigs and trying to look hot. If you shouldn't try to look like a woman if you can't do it in a hot way, in a natural feminine way. The bankers, the evil elite, they know this. That's why they were pushing the HRT onto children. But it's too late. I've been meaning to say this part for a while. Oftentimes, we get the answers as a species too late. What do I mean by that? The societal fixes come a generation too late. The HRT that should have been pushed on people born in the 90s. The people who were born with a high feminine spiritual essence in the 90s should have been the ones who were brainwashed to be trans. But now you have people born in the 2010s, maybe the mid 2000s, who aren't as spiritually feminine as people in the 90s were. So you missed out. You just missed out. There might have been a few lucky ones in the 90s who caught on to this and actually started transmaxing young and are making a fucking killing right now. But no, it took too long. And you can harken back to like women's rights. The women who wanted rights and needed to be freed from oppression were from 100 years ago. And now there's women now who've been born into this world of equality who simply aren't using it to their full advantage, nor do they want it. Some do, of course, but now women have an unhealthy relationship with what it means to be feminine and what it means to be masculine, what it means to be a person in this society. And it's because they didn't get they weren't born in a time when women's suffrage was absolutely a necessary thing. And now we're going to see a reversion to like hardcore sexism, uh, misogyny, violence and hatred and oppression towards women. Just because it's just how the pendulum has swung. There's women who are born into complete freedom in the Western world and have lacked guidance, have lacked security, have been sold this bill of lies of independence, and are realizing that it sucks. It's the classic like liberal who turns 43 and realizes she actually wants kids and a family, but her eggs are dried up, and then like She's probably somewhat successful in her career. She has a bag to her name. She's a hag with a bag, but she wants the Chad, and you're not gonna get the Chad, ladies. You're chopped, you're toasted. What's the other one? You're cooked. You're actually your best bet would be a cute, feminine guy born in the '90s like me. And I will, if that's the case, then I'm going to have a polycool. I will be a bull for these aging liberal women who are in desperate need of some type of maternal role in their lives. And maybe I'll be the baby. So yeah, my so like here's the thing about having a strong feminine spiritual essence. Say if you're someone with a 9 femininity and a 1 masculinity, owning your masculinity actually becomes a lot easier because it's so small. It actually is easier to handle your masculinity. The the pillars, the foundation, the crutches, the keystones of masculinity are actually much simplified when your masculine essence is lowered. And you can actually lock in on things better. You can actually tap into it. The issue is wrestling with your femininity. When you have a large femininity, it becomes a beast. That's what you actually have to wrestle with. It becomes the David and Goliath story of your masculinity being David and your femininity being Goliath. And you need to swing that stone, doggy, and hit it in the fucking balls. Why am I imagining Goliath as a Cyclops? I think it's because I saw the Odyssey last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. When the fuck was that? Who cares? The Odyssey, and no, not only the Odyssey, but minions, and monsters. There's a Cyclops in that too, and that's the Cyclops I was thinking of. The Cyclops in the Odyssey, he's so ugly. He's not what you think of a Cyclops. His eyes really all fucked up, and he does like the typical Cyclops is like a fat guy. The Cyclops in the Odyssey with Matt Damon, he's like a old office worker. He's like a malnourished, anxiety ridden, like 60-year-old office worker who never leveled up in the company or the government. This one particularly works for the government. Double points. I've never lost a game of Story Wars. Double points. I've, I've been wearing this shirt all week. I've been taking it on and off all week. It's Wednesday. I'm kind of proud of myself for that. If you were my girlfriend, this would smell so fucking good. So yeah, I don't need to chase attention. I naturally attract people by being authentically myself. My warmth, confidence, and kindness are enough. I shine by being myself. Okay, second mantra. Mercury conjunct Mars, positive 488. Let's put a pin in this. I totally forgot that I was going to name this episode Honesty and go on a thing about honesty because this is the third episode. And I kind of threw this into the last episode midway about love. But yeah, we're going to do a speed run of honesty. So, honesty is the third spiritual principle of my life, and honesty is what you envision. There's a difference between honesty and truth. The truth is the fact, the honesty is how you see things. Honesty is a perception. You can have an honest opinion about yourself, but that might not actually be the truth. You can have an honest opinion about anything, but it might not actually be the truth. The role of honesty is to point your mind in the right direction. Your honesty is tied to your imagination, it's tied to your perception, it's tied to what you envision and the vision you have for yourself and your world. And attached to honesty is your dreams as well. But the bigger spiritual value, not value, but I guess I'm just gonna the spiritual thing. Sorry, I can't think of the right word for it. Is monotheism, because your perception of God is what you honestly think. What you think God is, what you think God is. Your higher power is what you think it is. So that's number three. Monotheism is the principle behind the third breath of the prayer. So if we were doing a meditation, the first breath would be about bravery, breathing, and meditation. Breathing in, acknowledging the sensations in your body, taking that first step, regulating yourself so you can march forward what you need to do. Doing something and just doing it. You can practice this. One way I like practicing bravery, and it's a very small, subtle way to do it, is jumping in cold water. And that could be almost any water. It could be the water at the pool, water in the lake, water in the ocean, water in a cold shower, and saying, this is my act of bravery. And once I submerge myself in this cold water, I am ridding myself of whatever bullshit is holding me back. I'm proving I can do something uncomfortable. I'm proving I can do something brave. And once it hits you, it activates your nervous system. You're feeding your brain and your body new data. It goes from whatever comfortability you're in, and it literally changes the macular structure. Well, not maybe the macular structure, but it changes the patterns in your brain. Your like brain's like, okay, now cold water, ooh, and then you assimilate. You become accustomed to that new data. Uh, in short, it's scary, and you don't want to do it, but you do it, and you're better off. So jumping in cold water, just saying hi to a stranger, little acts of bravery, and then like you'll do things you don't think require bravery, but it's because you've built up so much. You've built up resistance. That bravery is acting behind the scenes. It becomes who you are, and if you don't have water to jump into, just take a breath. Your first breath is represent bravery, represent the power of being in your own skin and having the meditative power. It's like it's warming up the engine. The second breath or second part of the prayer is love. Like we would discuss prior, love is a state of relaxation. When you do something you love, you feel relaxed. When you're with people you love, you feel relaxed. And so upon the second breath, you've warmed up the system, you've activated yourself, and now you're ready to activate others. You're ready to start that connection with others, see people as the spirits that they are. And the principle behind number two, behind love and relaxation, is polytheism. You've acknowledged your spirit, but you've also acknowledged the spirit of others. Your magnetic waves are like connecting with other people. You're connecting, you're seeing God in others, and within yourself. You're sharing spiritual energies at that point. And you do it through very simple ways. The best book I would actually suggest for learning how to express love is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this, like, both of these are very, like, starter off points, like bravery, love, like these first two breaths. As life progresses, you'll become deeper and the story will expand upon itself. I really wish I started these logs off like this, but identity. I get really lost in the sauce in my own head, so it takes a while to get here, and I'm not going to restart this. I've already done an hour. And then the third part would be envision. Okay, now you've activated yourself, you've activated your surroundings, you feel connected to the world, well, you can feel connected with another being. Now you're in the third breath, honesty, vision, or envisioning, and God. Okay, now you're thinking, what do I want? So first breath, bravery, you've come alive. Second breath, you've built another layer, you're stronger, you're connected, you have love, you feel comfortable. Okay? You've turned yourself on, now you're comfortable, you're relaxed, you're able to calm yourself or whatever, you feel loved and relaxed. Third, okay, now you can use your mind to envision what you want. You can connect to the interconnectedness of the universe, tap into God, tap into what is good. Now you're at number three. So honesty is what you envision. I don't mean to loop, but that's what I meant to share. That's why it's called honesty. Okay, second mantra, Mercury conjunct Mars, positive 488. Theme, express your truth. Mantra. My ideas deserve to be expressed. I speak honestly, create boldly, and let my voice become stronger through action. Short version: create, speak, express. Is express. Mars conjunct ascendant. Positive 388. Theme: courage through action. Mantra: I move toward life with courage. Every step I take builds confidence. Action creates momentum. Short version: action builds confidence. It's kind of like bravery, right? Next one. Saturn opposite Mercury, negative 237. Theme: thoughts are not facts. Not every thought deserves my belief. I slow down, breathe, and remember that today's doubts are not tomorrow's truths. Short version: thoughts are weather, not reality. So for me, what I've been doing is I've been stopping myself at the question. Oftentimes in my own mind, I will make declarative statements and create whole stories within my head. Sometimes they're interesting, sometimes they're devastating. If I'm not careful, they're not very helpful for me. And when they're not helpful for me, I stop, I pedal back, and I just ask the questions that I want answered. Because oftentimes I will make grand assumptions and stories based on things I don't have answers for, which makes me perfect for like writing and being creative. But when I'm trying to direct the narratives of my life, it's not very helpful. So I stop myself and I ask questions. What am I really trying to find out? What am I actually curious about? And if I don't have any evidence for it, or I have don't have the chance to ask, then I don't put too much authority over those beliefs or thoughts. This is especially true when these thoughts aren't, if these thoughts are crazy thoughts, if they're just crazy. If they're crazy and they don't serve me and they're actually being self self bad. What's that word? What's that word when you make fun of yourself? Self-deprecative? Yeah, self-deprecative. Self-deprecative, but not even funny. And oftentimes I'll ask people, like I did this last week. I asked about something. I thought I saw someone do something, and I made this story up in my head. And then I asked them about it, and it was very boring. Their response was very boring. It had nothing to do with what I thought. It's not worth going over, but the overall theme and lesson of that is. So yeah, this goes back to the if you have pessimistic thoughts, like don't let it control you or own you. If you need to, yap it out, express yourself, get it out. But yeah, thoughts will pass. The good ones, the bad. In AA, they say this too shall pass. Thoughts are weather, not reality. Okay, next one. Saturn sextile ascendant positive 323. Theme: build slowly. My future is built through small, consistent actions. Discipline is an act of self respect. Short version: consistency beats intensity. Build slowly. Next one. So this is all from one horoscope. Most people would be done. They would be done. I don't know how many more. I'm not going to scroll. We'll see how many more there are. Venus sextile Mars positive 320. Enjoy connection. I welcome romance and curiosity instead of urgency. I enjoy getting to know people one conversation at a time. Short version: curiosity over urgency. Next one: Jupiter square Venus negative 108. Enough is enough. And I don't think that it means that in like the mad sense, like enough is enough. I think it means enough is enough. It's enough. It's enough. Like you have enough. It's not saying fuck it. Enough is enough. I'm done with this shit. It's saying you have enough. This is good. Like don't push. Actually, let's see what it means. Joy doesn't require excess. Yeah, that's what it means. It means be happy with what you got. Joy doesn't require excess. I enjoy today without sacrificing tomorrow. Moderation protects my freedom. Enough is enough. I think so. These are all mantras based on the aspects of my transit. These are much shortened versions. There's a bunch of lore you're not getting. That's why I wanted to go through the actual transit next time. But we'll do that next time. I'm really shooting off the hip with these still, and like I said, these will get better. There's been more planning on this one actually than there's been on the past two. So one day these are going to be all perfectly scripted and manicured, and you're going to miss me shooting off the hip. Next one, Venus square Pluto -70. Theme: let go to grow. This is the deepest one. Mantra: I release unhealthy attachments with love. I do not cling to people, fantasies, or old identities. What is meant for me grows closer as I let go of what no longer serves me. Short version: I release what I cannot control. Next one, Venus trine Lilith plus 63. This is the last one. I'm sure there's actually more aspects in my transit, but these are the mantras it made. Theme: authentic passion. Mantra: my desires are not something to fear. I seek honest intimacy, playful passion, and relationships built on trust rather than performance. Short version: I choose authentic passion. And then it gave me weekly integration mantra. I move through the world with courage and an open heart. I create instead of hiding. I connect instead of chasing. I release what no longer serves me. I trust that the right people will meet the real me. Every small step I take is building the life I want. And then it says the doggy version, doggy. I don't let me do the doggy version proper. I don't chase doggy. I don't cling. I don't rush doggy. I walk my path, speak my truth, build my life, and let love meet me along the way. That's the doggy version. Doggy. Okay. So, recap. This is the recap. That would be a good bit, putting on a cap for the recap. I came on here very sleepy, tired, and whatnot. But yeah, this is the real me, guys. I will come back on Canada Day. I think something was supposed to happen on Monday, but I don't recall. I'll do another one of these on, not Canada Day, BC Day, doggy. I love being from BC. But I'm going to admit something. I've recorded myself a lot, and not just these 3 episodes, but I've done a lot of practice. And one thing I've noticed is that once I get past the 10-minute mark, I feel more fluid and I can flow better. But then I've watched myself after the 10-minute mark, and I'm like, oh, I'm not actually speaking better, but I remember feeling better at that part. And the same thing sort of happens when I hit the 1 hour mark, where I'm like, I could keep going. Talking about what? I honestly don't know, but that's why I want to keep going, because I can feel like without even knowing what I want to talk about, I know I could keep going. But I also need to practice uh, some form of discipline and consistency with making these just like over an hour long. Also, I didn't really review what I could do better this time. I think I naturally did it. I think I naturally didn't repeat some things. I might have here or there, but let's not do a meta review and analysis of the show while being in the show. Let's just be grateful. Let's brothers and sisters. That last part was a spiritual mukbang. This is the whole thing is a spiritual mukbang. Honesty, love, bravery. Cool, folks. Well, thank you for joining me on another boy period. I might, hmm. I usually would have my boy period a couple nights before the full moon, but it is a full moon tonight. Here's the thing, like I don't want to spill my seed and lose that spiritual power during this transit of me feeling myself and being more attractive. So I don't know when I want to put my new boy period, because honestly, like, you should clean the pipes. Honestly, like, I think scientifically they say, I don't know if there's actually any science behind when you should do it. Taoist monks say once a month, which is basically what I've shared with you. I've seen like some like relationship coach guys say once a week, but you're just throwing yourself. That's like binge drinking. Spiritually speaking, jerking off once a week is like binge drinking, because you know how, like, say you're a weekend binge drinker. Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning you're drinking, and then Monday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday you feel like shit because you're hungover, your body's recuperating. Then by Thursday and Friday, you start feeling good again because your system's recalibrating, you're getting some sleep again, and then you start drinking again. You just you reset yourself every weekend to just start from zero. So if you jerk off once a week, you're also blurring the lines and you're pushing it. Once a week, in my opinion, is not enough, unless you're getting mad pussy. If you're getting mad pussy, you're activating a spiritual level that you don't need any of this shit, I guess. But like, according to the principles, if you're like fucking her in the pussy, then that doesn't count as wasting your seed because you're exchanging spiritual energies. But it does say with your wife. And when you have a girlfriend, especially like a long-term girlfriend, especially a live-in girlfriend, you're playing husband and wife. You saying boyfriend, girlfriend. It's the same thing. We've talked about this on the first episode about those weird lines being blurred. Let's not get back into that. Of having a woman who you've had a kid with live with you and not be married when she has absolutely no legal ability to take anything you own because it's all tied to the reserve. Like, just get married, fucking cunt. But then there's commitment issues. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about other people's commitment issues, Christmas issues, commitment issues. I've totally lost the plot with what I was talking about. Oh, the jerking off. 2 weeks, yeah. But honestly, when you hit 2 weeks of not jerking off, the amount of attraction you get from women, that's when it really starts picking up. But I do think, like, if we were being scientific and mathematical about it, for the health of your balls and your cum, 2 weeks is probably the sweet spot. 3 weeks, I mean, you're just edging yourself out of, no, literally no pun intended. You're edging yourself out of a full like moon cycle. And from what I've experienced, if you actually do abide by the once a moon cycle boy period, everything else in your life starts to really fall together. And it's not magic, you just feel more motivation, more strength to do the things you need to. So, like, the two pillar rules, you know how Jesus had the two golden rules or whatever, which he stole from Greek philosophy, or whoever wrote the Bible stole from Greek philosophy. Treat others how you want to be treated, and what was the other one? Just praise him. What? The other, isn't that it? Isn't that it? Love thy neighbor and like praise Jesus. That seemed the second one's like just believe in me, doggy. And then, like, so many people think that they're Jesus. How many people secretly think they're God? I'm not secret about it. I made a whole fucking world about it. And I still really don't think I'm actually. I think if I were God, I would be such a benevolent God that I would make myself a slob on the bus, like that Kelly Osbourne song. I would put myself in a situation where I would kind of like Jesus. Isn't that what Jesus did? God, like, put himself as a human to see what it would be like if he lived amongst the goyim, and the goyims ended up betraying him and killing him. Please, guys, I feel betrayed and killed by not having 999 quadrillion, 999 trillion, 999 billion, 999 dollars and 99 cents plus interest. Truly, if I was God, if I was truly God, I think, and everyone could hear me, and I was this little thing everyone could connect to, this little conductor, I think I deserve all that money and the interest, the $1.5 billion a second interest. Yet here I am. I got some things going for me, but I don't have a stupendous amount of infinite cash like that, which is sad, which is my cross. That's the cross I bear. Not having Scrooge McDuck levels of gold. It's really quite a travesty. It's worse. It's worse than anything that Jesus went through if he existed, which he didn't. And there's historical evidence. Again, imagine someone listened to this whole thing. I like it. I like, oh, wait, you don't think Jesus is real? No, I think he's a metaphor. He's an analogy. Hey, don't get mad at me for saying that. Get mad at the literal millions of men who think that they're the reincarnation of Jesus and they keep it to themselves. And you should keep it to yourself. If you're someone who keeps that to themselves, don't ever tell anybody because that's fucking hilarious. It's fucking hilarious for anyone to think that they're Jesus. Apparently, they took two people who thought they were Jesus. I don't think I'm Jesus because I'm real. I'm unlike Jesus. I exist and I'm real. I'm actually better than Jesus, which is honestly a better attitude. But like, honestly, send a Christian my way. Tell me about Jesus. Maybe I don't know, but I do see like Jesus just being a metaphor for being a good guy, which is good. I mean, it's better than like worshiping a cow or some other literal horse shit. Or literally, I through my loneliness and projecting anima, I was worshiping the idea of a woman. So the Gaia, basically. Gaia would be an improvement. So who am I? Maybe Jesus is better. I have a golden Bible from my grandmother that I use to straighten $1 bills. That's what I use it for. I tried reading it. I did read it once, but I've read it multiple times. I haven't read it all the way through. Funny how I said 15 minutes ago, I was like, when I hit 1 hour, I really fucking keep going. But I'm not going to do it because I have self control. Well, here's the self control, doggy. So maybe these will progress. Sharing screen. If we share the screen, I'm just going to scroll through Facebook. Nah, that's going to piss some people off. That's so funny. I will end with this. It's so funny to think that people might get mad at me if I made a video of me scrolling through Facebook and then having their names on a YouTube video of me on Facebook. First off, I'm invading my own privacy. It's my Facebook that I'm exposing. Secondly, you're the one who's putting it out there for other people to see. You should see it as advertising. And third, everything you do on Facebook, you're willingly giving your data away to Meta, who are selling it to whoever, and whatever Chinese spies or incels you offended online are also collecting and selling that data. So you're willingly giving your data to malicious forces operating in the dark, and then your good buddy Justin just needs some content and you're mad at him? You're mad at him for just putting eyeballs on something you put out in the world for with the intention of you either A, seeking validation, or B, expressing yourself. I express myself to nobody all the time. What good does that do me except some endorphins in the moment? Doggy, this is going on YouTube for a reason. I need fucking eyeballs. I need someone to hear me fucking shout in a microphone!